as you can see over here, we're looking at an Excel file, and the reason we're looking at this is because we're going to be provisioning all of these networks with all of this information using the Meraki APIs all at the same time. So on my dashboard, I've cleared everything out in my lab and there's no networks, and we're going to create all 10 of these using the Meraki API call and using what we learned earlier with for loops. So we already have this create network.py function that we've been working with. So let's just go ahead and work with this. It's already got our dashboard API key and everything in regards to our organization ID loaded up. So we're once again using the create organization network call, but instead we're going to put this call into a for loop this time. So let me just delete this stuff because this time we're going to be reading the information in from a CSV file. So let me show you how that's going to work. I've got my CSV file over here. It's called mynetworks.csv. It's got all of this information. So all I need to do now is open this file up, and I'm going to do that by doing with open mynetworks.csv, and this time I'm going to open it with an R, which stands for read, and I'm going to open it as new file, and then we're going to type in CSV underscore reader is equal CSV dot dict reader, and we put a new file in there, and of course we shouldn't forget the colon, as I very often do despite my extensive programming experience. So moving forward, let's put this stuff into a for loop. So let's say that for every line in CSV underscore reader, I want to call this, and we must have this indented. So let's go ahead and do that. So essentially I'm calling this, but at no point right now am I actually making a mention to my CSV document within the for loop. So let's think about this a little bit. For every line in the CSV reader, we want to draw in the information from the CSV and use that information over here and put that information in as the input information for those networks. So let's go ahead and do that, and we're going to say the organization ID is of course organization ID. Now as for the name is going to be within that line whatever we have as name. And similarly, we're going to do these for all of these things, but I'm going to take you back to the API call for a second just to show you something really interesting, which is something you should definitely take note of. So when we read this information from the CSV file, the name is just going to be coming in as a string, so is the time zone, but for the variables tags and product types, the input expected is actually a list. And when we read it normally from the CSV file, it's going to be a string. So how do we let Python know that this is actually should be formatted as a list and thus should be sent to through the Meraki API as a list as well? Because otherwise we're going to get an error. So let's go over back here, and the way we do that is by using the split method. So I'm going to say product types is equals line product types dot split, and this essentially converts the string into a list. I'm gonna have to do something similar for tags over here. So let's say line tags dot split, and once again for time zone we're just going to do it the normal way. So let's say line time zone, and obviously for notes as well. Alright, so now what this function is doing is for each row it's calling this create organization network call, and for whatever that row we find within the information for name, product types, tags, time zone, and notes, it's creating a network, and then it goes back to the top and reads again from the next row. So ideally all of these networks we see over here should be iterated over using our for loop, and we should have 10 new networks on our Meraki dashboard. So let's call this function again, Python create network.py. And looks like we've got some invalid syntax over here. So let's try to take a look at what that is. Product type is equals line.productTypes. So I believe this may be because we forgot to put in those commas, which are so crucial, of course, to let Python know that we're going to be talking about the next variable then. And let's save this file again and call our function again. No such directory. Alright, because this is called my networks, not my network. And let's try that again. And the API call seems to be made. Alright, so we've got all these posts happening. And looks like we're having some success. So let's go over to my Meraki dashboard. And there it is, everybody. Congratulations if you've been able to follow me this far. You've just learned how to automate things using Python with the Meraki APIs. So good luck, everybody.